My name is Lana Bork, and I have been homeschooling for 23 years now. My oldest son is 27. I have 16 children, and my baby is 3, and the helpers in here are my kids. My son Benjamin's recording, my daughter Hannah is passing out flowers, and then Silas is, he might come in, he might not, I don't know. My husband and I, I want to just give you a little introductory to who I am, because I feel like I'm not a professional speaker. Y'all are my friends, and I'm just going to tell you who I am, because we're friends. Before we were married, my husband and I decided that we would let God decide how many children we would have. That was totally up to him, because we feel like he knows better than we do about everything. And so we decided to leave that in his hands. We also discussed that we would homeschool our children. We were both in agreement with that, and that I would stay home and raise the children and homeschool, and he would bring in the income, and whatever the Lord provided, it was what we were going to work with. And when you go into it with that attitude, it makes a huge difference than if you think you got 2 incomes all the time. I have had to learn over the years how to work with one income, and how to, with an ever-growing family, how in the world are we going to manage? So I am just going to share with you practical stuff that I have learned and that I use over the years. We never fight over money. I decided before we were married we weren't going to fight. I wasn't going to fight over money, because I'm going to trust God. He's the provider. He's the one who's taking care of it. Whatever God gives us, I'm going to be good with. Of course, almost daily I wish we had more money, but it's okay. I always have to turn that over to God every day. Lord, this is yours, and what you give me, I'm going to be content with. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was how I get the children involved with our finances, because I don't want them to think of course kids don't know any better, and they naturally think that we've got it all under control, and we are, they just don't think about things. But if you don't want the kids to leave the lights on in the house all the time, and you want them to appreciate what you have, I get the kids in on the money. I let them know how much we pay for our water bill. Our water bill is like $150 a month, because we have 18 people living in our house. My husband and I, 15 of our children, and his mother, who we take care of her. And so our water bill is quite high. Our electric bill is like $350 a month. These numbers are just mind-blowing for the kids. They just have a really hard time wrapping their head around those numbers, because they get very little allowance. But you can get the kids in on it and teach them how much things are going to cost. And they actually, you can have them, help you with doing the paying your bills, whether you do it online. We used to do it by checks, but of course we do it online now. Pay our bills, and have them help pay the bills. And they, not all of my children, but a lot of them know what our income is. And our income is really not a bad income. If you have the average American family, we have quite a good income, but we have more than 1.7 children in the house. And so we have a supersized family. We don't have a supersized income. But my husband makes pretty good money. He's in IT, by the way. He's a computer guy. So you need to be on a budget. In order to keep your household finances in order, you're going to have to be on a budget. And the way we do this is we go with Dave Ramsey. Do you guys know Dave Ramsey? Heard of him? We pretty much use his plan, and I go to the bank every month, and I get envelopes from the bank. And I take out however much money I'm going to need. How much money do we need? Well, what we do first is we write down all our sources of income, whatever that is. My husband's, regular monthly check. We get a little from this area, a little bit from that area. Like the older kids pay a little rent. We write down all all the income that comes in, and then we start listing expenses. And you prioritize the expenses. Of course, food is first because you have to eat, and pay the mortgage, and pay the utilities, pay auto expenses. Of course, we don't really need 3 cars. We have 3 cars. Well, actually, we have 9 cars in our because it's crazy. Our house looks like a parking lot. But I have grown children, and they're either going to jobs or they're going to school, and my mother-in-law has her car there, and we have a 15-passenger van, and we have a smaller car to run around in, and we have a pickup truck to haul, we have a couple horses and stuff. So we have 9 vehicles, but they're all paid for. Nobody pays anything on any vehicles because we've taught our children you don't want to go into debt for a car because it depreciates. Your house is going to appreciate. If you want to borrow on that, that's one thing. But whatever is going to depreciate, you don't want to borrow on. So our kids all own their cars free and clear. Of course, they're not really great cars when they're, fresh out of high school. But we teach them to get jobs and save their money and stuff. So on what we do is we figure out how much money we're going to need every month. I write on bank envelopes. I write food. I have a budget for school because I know school's going to come. I have to pay for school books. So we take out a certain amount of money every month for school. We take out for auto repairs since they're not all brand new cars. We have to have repairs. That's figured in the budget. Gasoline expenses, all those things are all budgeted and put into envelopes, and according to how much money we bring in, how much money is going out, we figure out how much we can spend per month on our expenses. When you're doing this, you really need to prioritize and make sure and examine what you're doing. Is this something I really need? Do we really need a $500 a month car payment? Sometimes you really might need that, and sometimes you really don't need that. It all depends. But you really need to examine everything that you're purchasing and decide if you really need that. Buying food is a major expense. It's probably the highest one next to the mortgage in our house. But I think we do pretty good. My food budget is $1,500 a month. And that's for a lot of people. Some of my children, they'll eat lunches out, and sometimes they eat dinner out, but for the most part, I can count on 15 people at a meal every time. So one way to help keep your food expenses down is to make menus. And I'm going to tell you how we make menus. It helps if you get the whole family in on it. And usually my husband doesn't get involved in this, but if you can get the guys involved in it, it's more fun. Because I hate it when he comes home from work and we say, we're having burritos, and he'd be like, oh, really? It's nice to fix things that he wants to eat, but if he's not going to get in on the menu making, sorry. So this is what we do. I get the children together, and the first thing we're going to do is make a list of what do you like to eat. I'll go through breakfast and do it separately. What do you want to eat for breakfast? And whatever the child says, I'll write on a list and put their name or initials right by that on the list. And then we go through lunch. What do you want to have for lunch? What's your favorite thing, or what do you enjoy eating? And put that on the list with their name or initial by it. And the same thing for dinner. So now we have a whole bunch of meals that I know at least somebody's going to enjoy. Maybe not everybody. It's hard to please everybody. But so you have your menu. You have a menu then. You have your lists. Next, you're going to make it into a menu. I oftentimes just do this on lined paper, and I'll just grid it out, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But there's other websites you can go on. One of my favorite websites for this is called thepeacefulmom.com. Oh, do you know her?
No, it's just funny.
Yeah, thepeacefulmom.com. She has free. She has free organizational papers on there. If you want to go there, you can print them off. Or her menu. She has a menu on there that you can just. It's interactive. You can go in there and put on there what you fill it all in if you want, and then print it out. I've done that many times, except sometimes I lose it before I end up printing it out, and that's really painful. But so you go in there and you start. I plug in. I write in things. I just pick them off the list and put them on the menu. Now, how we do this at our house is all the kids have different times when they have to make menus. Make meals. I don't make all the meals in the house. The kids help make meals. Even Hannah now, she's 9 and she's starting to help us with meals. So whatever they have said that they want, if it's their meal day, then I'm going to pick something that they said they want and put it on there and put it in for their meal day, for breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever meals they're fixing for that day. The older kids, like Benjamin, he makes meals all day. Today, right? And see, he's 18. He did breakfast burritos today. He's got lunch taken care of at home. He made sure they had everything, and he's got soup in the crock pot for tonight, I hope, right? So this teaches them responsibility. And the boys cook, the girls cook, everybody cooks at my house, except for my husband. He doesn't cook, but that's okay. He brings in the money so we can cook. He's just that, some guys cook and some guys don't, and mine doesn't enjoy it, so that's okay. So then that child is responsible for making those meals that they have already planned out, that they have said they like. And so there's really very little argument, very little fuss about it. Of course, I do monitor to make sure that they're choosing meals that they can do. Hannah says she likes fajitas. I really wouldn't expect her to make fajitas unless I'm in there with her doing it. But, if she says she wants to do peanut butter and jelly and fruit for lunch, I'm good with that. We'll do that. So that's how we do our meal planning. And it really works out very well. And while I'm writing the meals on the calendar that I have either printed out or drawn up myself, I write a shopping list by it. And there are programs out there where you can just put your meals in and it'll do your shopping list for you. I don't do that because I'm on such a tight budget that I can't follow all their meals and get all the things that they say to do. So I do it all myself like that. We did get, I got e-meals last year. I had it for a year. I purchased it actually 2 years ago because I got a Groupon. Is anybody familiar with Groupons? I love those things. I don't use them a lot, but when they got what I want, I love it. If you don't do Groupon, if you have a computer and you don't do Groupon, I would highly recommend you go to groupon.com and sign up. We get, they have some really good deals. Most of the stuff is like junk mail and I don't look at it, but they have some really good deals. And they had an e-meals thing on there and I'd been wanting to try e-meals. E-meals is where they plan meals and you can just take what they have planned and they have a shopping list and everything. Well, I did that for 1 year and I saved all the meals and I put them in page protectors. I didn't bring that folder with me. Put them in page protectors and I put them in a folder like this. So I have all those meals from that year because I didn't want to pay again.
I think actually that Groupon is still active. I think there's one.
Yeah, there is one now. The really nice thing is it's like half price. Was it about $40 for a year of 5 meals a week they plan for you. You can also add on for them to do lunches. I added on, I paid another $5 or $10 for them to tell me how to do my lunches. But see, their stuff is still more expensive than I do. It just is a help. And I really liked it for that 1 year. It was worth it for me to do that. So that's how we do meal planning.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How long does it take you to do that every week?
It doesn't really take very long at all. Usually,
so you do it like on Sundays or Saturdays?
Well, I should, but I don't. I usually, when everybody sits down to do school, I know everybody's there because we do school at the dining room table. We have a big, huge dining room table. So everybody sits down and I'll say, oh, hey, I got to go to the grocery store today. And we'll sit down and do it. And we can be done in 30 minutes. and I have 7 days worth of stuff planned out and the grocery list written.
And seven people have their day.
Right,
What they're gonna make.
right. Or just, yeah, it's actually more than 7 because like Hannah will do a lunch her day and maybe Grace will do breakfast that day, or, you know, I mix it up so that, you know, age appropriate.
Smaller children don't have
Right, so they're not
breakfast.
doing all day long meals. Right.
Do you do just by week, just weekly?
I just do it
Or do you
weekly
do
and then
a whole
I'll
month?
save them. My brain can only handle a week because, well, in grocery shopping too, I can only do it weekly, unless I'm doing co-op. When I do wheat orders and stuff like that, which I'll talk about in a minute, I just do it weekly. That's all I can handle. But hey, if you can do a month's worth, and life changes so much. Life changes so much. I don't know about y'all, but my house, especially, I have graduated 6 kids from homeschool, and 5 of them are still at home. And I was under a delusion when I was younger, and I thought when my 5 little kids are grown up, I'm not going to have to worry about them anymore. They're going to all move out and have happy lives. And there is more stress and more that can consume you, especially if they're living at home. So be thankful if you have a little kid, just kiss them and love them and be so thankful for falling off of beds and things like that. My 3-year-old fell off the bed the other day on her head. It was so scary. She was like dazed, but she's okay. She's fine. It was really scary. And so that's, a scary thing, but I mean, when you've got young adults going out and doing things that you have no control over what they're doing, you just pray that God takes care of them and they remember what you taught them all those years, So yeah, because all those we have so many adults in our house and everything changes all the time. So I can only do 1 week at a time and hope that we can stick with that meal plan that works for us. We get our breads and things by doing them ourselves. I don't know if you all have ever considered or done that yourself. It's really the only wholesome way if you're going to do. I know so many people are on grain-free these days, or gluten-free, but it's so much cheaper to purchase your grains through co-ops. If you need, I have a friend who does a co-op. She lives halfway between Cookville and Carthage off of Highway 70, and she has a website. It's called Lana's Friends. The same name as mine, but it's a different person. lanasfriends.com.
With an S?
Yes, LANAS, friends. lanasfriends.com. She does co-op orders with Cloverdale, and I go through that. I buy wheat, and I buy organic beans and organic brown rice, and because I can't afford organic any other way unless I purchase it. So you can purchase your 50-pound bags or 25-pound bags, or you can do splits with people. She does all that. All
Does
that
she
fun
come
stuff.
here to deliver? Does she come to Cookville?
No,
or do have
you got to go to her house,
Okay.
and it's about halfway between here and Carthage.
Okay.
No, it's not that bad. But you should check it out if you're looking. You should not pass that one up. Denise does it. Yeah, Denise. This is my neighbor Denise. She lives down the street from me. So I get popcorn, and we grind popcorn to make cornmeal. I don't know if do y'all grind wheats or anything like that? It's really not that expensive to even get started. You can get a grinder for about $200 or $300. Well, it is, but in the long run, it's really cheap. $200 or $300 for a grinder, and then you pay for. We use a bread machine, a Bosch, that mixes it for us. I can make 4 loaves of bread at one time, and that's around $300. Anywhere between $300 and $500. You can get one of those. And I don't think that's that expensive, because if you go to the store and purchase bread that is whole grain bread, really good, you're going to pay $3, $4, $5 a loaf. And most of the nutrition is gone. I don't know if you understand that, but as soon as you break the wheat, the kernel of whatever you're using, the nutrients start evaporating into the air. Even if you go to the store and purchase a bag of whole wheat flour, there's like no nutrition in it. It's been sitting there for way too long. It has fiber in it still, but the nutritional value is in when you break the grain, you need to use it or freeze it within, I think 48 hours. Half of the vitamin value is gone in 48 hours if you don't. So we just do that. I mean, we go through 4 loaves of bread. Like, it takes 3 to 4 loaves of bread for a meal.
Which grain meal do you like?
What grain?
Grain meal.
Mill. You know what? I can only afford the cheapest one. So when mine dies, I get a VTech. Is that what it? VTech is the old name. They got a new name now. But if you look up VTEC, VTech, it's loud though, and I have to put it on my back deck. But what you want is a whisper mill. A whisper mill is quieter. Yeah. The VTech just happens to be really inexpensive, and it really works really well. It's just really loud.
And that's to grind your grain?
To grind the grain, yeah. And then the machine to mix it, if you want something that will mix it for you, you put everything in the mixer. It's like a, the brand I use is Bosch, B-O-S-C-H, like the tools. It's a really heavy duty motor, and it's like a KitchenAid, only heavy duty, because I've burned out so many KitchenAids, it's not even funny. I buy the industrial kind, the restaurant kind, and I still burn them out within less than 6 months. It's stupid. Because we make so much so often. So this will mix up 4 loaves of bread, and all you do then is you throw it in there, you mix it up, knead it for like 8 minutes, shape your loaves and let it rise once and bake it, and it's done. It's so awesome. So you can, yeah. And then, you eat your bread within just 2 days, or it starts molding because you don't have there's no preservatives in it. Or you can freeze it, whatever.
You can freeze it and then just thaw it out and cut it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom, I'll make bread for her. She lives alone. And so we slice it for her and put it in a bread bag and put it in her freezer. So she can just pull out 1 or 2 slices as she wants. Yeah. It works really well that way.
And you said the mixer was a Bosch type?
It's called Bosch.
It's called
That's the
Bosch.
brand name. B-O-S-C-H, a Bosch mixer. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so yeah, the co-ops, they have oils. You can get coconut oil in a big 50-gallon drum. Not 50. 5, right? 5-gallon drum. Or you can, get a smaller. I know coconut oil is really popular nowadays, and I really love it. Okay. Another place to get food is farmers markets. I find that they're not that cheap compared to, I'd shop at Aldi. Aldi is my favorite. And they do have some organic stuff now, and I'm so happy about that. But farmers markets, at least they're local, and it's not like, you can talk to the farmers and ask them, what are you putting on your stuff? And they'll tell you.
Pesticides?
Yeah, pesticides and, and how are you growing it, what fertilizers and stuff. Then you got your warehouse stores like Sam's Club, right down the road, which I love. I live over toward Lebanon, so I'm so glad to be here. We get to go to Sam's Club. Or Costco. You really have to watch them, though. Some of their stuff is really high priced, and some of their stuff is really cheap, like cheese. I get cheese. That's where I get my cheese from, the Sam's Club. So you have to watch it, but those are good things. And like I said, Aldi is my favorite grocery store in the whole world. But they don't take coupons. So I wanted to talk about coupons. Coupons can save you a lot of money. There's upsides and downsides of couponing. I want to talk about the downside first of doing coupons. Usually coupons a lot of times are for food that I would never even eat anyway. Highly processed, prepackaged, and so when I start doing my coupons, I'm like, ooh, this looks good, it looks good. So cheap, and I'll buy it and give it to my kids, and I'm like, why am I spending this money for this trash that I'm feeding my children? I don't know. Well, don't look at my daughter, she's eating junk now, but so that's one of the things. Another thing is I get all my coupons in order, and I have them in my little envelope in the perfect order because I know the grocery store, I know which aisle everything's in. And I had checked my dates and make sure nothing's expired, and you go there and you're checking your list and the coupons and everything should line up perfectly, but I end up leaving, and a third of them I haven't even used because they didn't have the stuff, or It's really frustrating. And sometimes I spend an hour and a half or 2 hours in Publix because that's the best coupon place. And I come out with a great deal, but it's just taken so much time because I spent 2 hours at home trying to get these coupons together, almost 2 hours in the store, and I only used 2/3 of the coupons I brought. And I have to think, is this really worth it, or should I just go to Aldi and get the stuff I always get? So, that's the thing. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You get there,
Even if
you
a home's
have
really
the
bad.
package of the ones that you weren't gonna use.
Right. But, I probably should have saved the negative for last, so I could tell you about couponing in case you want to do it. If you want to do couponing, the website that I love to go to is called southernsavers.com. She makes it very easy to organize your coupons. What I do is I take one of these handy dandy accordion file folders, and you get your packages of coupons in your newspaper, and I take the little tabs, that come with the accordion file folder that are March or letters, or advertising or whatever. I flip it over, and on the back, I'll label my coupon, my tab. The coupons are going to have a title, Smart Source. I have a Procter & Gamble pack, or there's Red Plum or whatever. So what I do is I put the name or initial and the date. There's a date on the edge of your coupon pack. And you want to file them according to dates. And you just stick your little thing in the tab and file it in there and forget it until you're ready to do your couponing. This way you don't have to cut out 5,000 of them and not use them. That's what I used to do 15, 20 years ago. And then I found Southern Savers, and I'm so happy with them. When I get the binge to do couponing again, that's what I do. So you go to southernsavers.com, and you can click on your favorite couponing store, which could be Kroger, because Kroger sometimes has really good deals, or Publix is really great because a lot of times they have buy one get one free sales, and then you can use a coupon for whatever's on sale for buy one get one free, and they double the coupon, so you can get out of there with some really nice stuff, really inexpensive. So you go to southernsavers.com, and you click on the Publix store. Let's say we want to see what's going on at Publix. On there, she has listed what their sales are, and she lists all the groceries that are on sale with their sale price and what coupons to use and where to find the coupon. It could be an e-coupon on the internet that you can print out yourself, or it could be in one of these things, and she'll say Southern Savers Smart Saver with the date that's on here. And you've already got it filed in your accordion file, so you just pull that out and flip through this till you find that particular coupon that's in here, and you cut it out. And so you've got them all. She makes it really easy if you're going to do couponing. Southern Savers is the way to go. Publix is my favorite store to do it at, when I'm not too frustrated with them. But that's a mini course on couponing. Why you should or why you should not. Let's move on to curriculum. Personally, I use mostly Abeka for my children up through grade 8. And then in high school, we really mix things up a lot. What I do with our books is we use them until they can't be used anymore and the pages are falling out. They go from one child to another child, except for the young kindergarten, first grade, some of the second grade books. But in third grade, the children write on paper. I get them notebooks, and they write on paper so that I can pass the books on to the next child. And I let them write in the test books, because the test books are only like $5 to replace. And then we pass the books on, and the children are so happy when the pages are falling out of the book. Mom, the pages are falling out. Can I write in this one? So then I let them write in the book, and we get new books. So it's an exciting thing. If the book is really new, that's always exciting. Or if it's really old, that's really exciting, because then they don't have to write on the paper. They can write in the book. And I don't mind. but passing down curriculum from one student to another is always a good thing. There are websites. There are so many websites now with free curriculum, free educational this and educational that. They're not always easy to find for the higher grades, but there are some. If you want anything preschool free, you'll find 5 jillion of them out there. Khan Academy. Has anybody heard of Khan Academy? KHAN. It's a great website.
KHAN?
KHAN. Is it khanacademy.com or I think it is.
I think it is.
Org maybe?
It's either Con or
But you'll
Con
find
or
it. It's Khan Academy. And they have everything on there. They have, especially as far as math, that's all I really go there for is math. It's an
After
excellent,
8th grade?
I'm sorry?
After 8th grade or?
Yeah, they have high school. They have all kinds of stuff. And it's totally free. Free.
Some of it is like from Ivy League universities.
Yes.
Professors.
They have professors that
giving-
give classes, and it's really helpful for high school stuff and everything. It's really a great place to check out. If you are stuck or need something, go to Khan Academy. You should just go there and check them out and doodle around on their thing anyway, just to see what they've got, because it's a really great website. There's also a place called 12k.com. Is that the public school one?
K-12.
K-12, yeah. But it's free curriculum if you want to use it. I don't, because I don't want to have anything to do with public school system, but it's there for people who don't mind. There's also a website called Homeschool for Free, and they have a lot of good resources on there where you can find free and cheap stuff. Now, Khan Academy is not Christian based. Just want to let you know it's a secular thing, but I haven't really found anything very offensive, of course, except science. They'll talk about evolution, things along those lines. But it's still a good website to check out. You always want to check out your library also. I like the library for history books and some science and stuff like that. One year I missed my science for my 3rd grader, and when I ordered my curriculum, and I discovered we had no 3rd grade science. I didn't know how that happened, and I didn't want to order again because the shipping gets expensive and blah, blah, blah. So I ran to the local teacher store and picked up some workbooks, 3rd grade science workbooks, and between that and going to the library, I had really cheap science, and it worked out really very well for that grade level. So the library is always a good resource. Another great resource for free curriculum for high schoolers in particular, I'm thinking, because that's difficult. High school gets real difficult. Is your friends. And I can't believe it took me a really long time to figure this one out. But you have friends that are professionals at what they do. And maybe your child is interested in something that somebody does, like an artist. I mean, do you need art classes for your kids? Do you know anybody who does any type of art? You can ask them to help. Politicians. We have been involved, or I should say statesmen, because that's who I prefer to get involved with, not just politicians, but statesmen. You can get in your political science, but in younger grades, civics is what I'm thinking of. Civics classes, by getting involved politically. If you have a candidate that you know and trust, or one that you don't necessarily know all the candidates, but you can research and find out who you think you want to vote for and get to know them, and you can get your kids involved in their campaign. Believe me, they want everybody they can get, especially the ones that are really worth standing for. They really need help because they probably don't have money to come against the ones that have a lot of money. We have learned so much from people like that. You can take your children down to the state, to the Capitol, and they can be a page for a day. Do you know anything about that? Mm-hmm. You contact your representative, senator. Is May Beavers a senator here? I don't think she is. Is she Putnam County? May Beavers is a senator where we live. But anyway, you contact your local state representative or senator. And your child ages 6 to 18 can be a page down there. Of course, you'd have to get them a ride there and back. But what that is when they're in session Monday nights and Thursday mornings. They can go and be a runner, basically is what it is. And that is a lot of fun. The kids really enjoy that and they get to learn things. And we make a day of it because the State Museum is right down there. Has anybody been to the State Museum? Oh, it's really good. It's really good. But I will warn you, the first thing you go into when you go in the State Museum is Native Americans, and they have topless women on the murals on the wall and stuff of Native Americans. So we kind of avoid that area. But the rest of the museum is really a great museum. It's 3 stories in the basement of a TPAC. Yeah, the TPAC building, right. It's a really great museum. You can go and visit the Capitol. You can go and visit your state representative and senator, and that's a really good resource, I think. Repair people. People come fix your washing machine or your refrigerator or car or whatever. Have your kids go watch them and ask them questions. I mean, we do that. Yeah, I'm paying for it. Might as well learn something from you. Internships or shadowing people. That's really a good thing. My son back there, we thought he might want to be a lawyer, and so he went and did an internship with a lawyer last summer. And he decided he didn't want to be a lawyer. After that, he might change his mind, though. He's a really great speaker and very persuasive, which makes me crazy, because he's always trying to get me to, move in his direction. Okay, and don't forget the best person that you've got is yourself. You have so much in you that you can teach your kids, and maybe you don't know that, but it's in there. It's in there. Things that you have learned and things that you know. I learned the violin when I was in school. I played from 4th grade through, I played the viola. I don't know if y'all know what that is, but from 4th grade through 8th grade, I played the viola. So when my husband and I were married about 10 or 15 years ago, he said, hey, can you play the violin? Because I gave it up completely after 8th grade. I was done with it. And I said, well, sure, I can play the violin. If you learn the viola, you can teach yourself the violin real easily. So I picked it up and started playing again. So I teach my children to read music, and I can teach them music theory. My husband plays the guitar, so we can teach them music. But you got to look at your own self. There are all kinds of things you can do. My mom quilts. So she didn't start, my mother never touched a sewing machine until she retired. And she has made so many quilts. She's made well over 100 quilts. She's quilt crazy lady, isn't she? But so she teaches my girls how to sew. She teaches them quilting because she's done that. There's just so many resources that you have, or your parents, or even gardening can count as classes, I learn gardening and I'm teaching it to my kids because I pretty much have a ground time. What?
Because we need food.
We need food. That's a good reason. Okay.
Before you
Yes.
move subjects, I just wanted to throw a couple out there.
Yeah.
There's a website called freehomeschooldeals.com.
Okay.
And they do a lot of free printables and free ebooks and things like that.
Cool.
And then if anyone is familiar with the book Samaritan, that's a great way to get
Samaritan?
the book Samaritan. It's a ministry for homeschoolers, and if you are low income or you cannot afford books for some reason, you write them a letter and tell them what you're wanting, and if they have that, they will send it to you for free. They just ask that you don't resell it.
Mm-hmm.
They ask that you either pass it on to someone who needs it or send it back to them so that they can bless
Oh, I
someone
never heard
else
of
with
that
it.
before.
What was that called
The
again?
book Samaritan.
Do they have a website?
They do. They do.
And what was the first one that you mentioned?
freehomeschooldeals.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I've been there before. My problem is I sign up for everybody and I get all this junk mail and it's really hard to sort through everything, but you gotta find out what you want and don't feel bad if you got all this junk mail, just delete it, just delete it. Don't clutter your head with that. Free and cheap entertainment. We really enjoy eating out. So sometimes I'll take the kids out to Captain D's on Thursdays because they have 99-cent kids meals on Thursdays at Captain D's. So if you need that, that's there. CC's Pizza on Tuesday has 99-cent kids meals there. We also love dollar menu. My husband loves dollar menus. We're still waiting for Chick-fil-A to get a dollar menu, but it hasn't happened. One nugget, I guess, is what you can get.
exactly.
We have 2 daughters now that are working at Chick-fil-A, and so they get a discount. They get half price food, but we don't get any. And they always ask me, Mom, why don't you come here? And I said, when you guys get a dollar menu, I'll go there. I go there periodically, but anyway. Do you know the theater in Cookeville here it's $5.50 to get in any day of the week between 4 and 5:30. That's the only way we go to the show with the kids. So between 4 and 5:30, the theater here in Cookeville, if you want to go to the show. And on Tuesdays, they have $2 popcorn and $2 small drink, which is still steep. But for a fun night out, that's the best way that I know to do it. It's cheaper to sneak snacks. Yeah, they say signs. Don't bring nothing in, but hey, Dollar Tree has really good theater candy. Yeah. Or you can do a movie night at home with popcorn. We really enjoy that. We really enjoy inviting friends over to share a movie with. It's so much more fun to have friends over and make popcorn and they bring something and it's a lot of fun and it's really, really cheap that way. The park and picnics, that's free. And that's always a really good thing to do. Going camping, I hate camping, unless it's in a cabin. But my husband and children love camping. So that's kind of a fun thing. It can get kind of costly too if you keep buying all that lovely camping equipment.
It's on vacation for us.
To me, it's just like more dirt and less to clean it with.
Yeah, camping is not a vacation for the women.
No. I like renting a cabin. Now renting a cabin is another smart thing to do if you're going somewhere. We took a trip to Kentucky not too long ago and rented a cabin and we had a blast. It had a pool table in it and like 5 televisions. Honestly, why do I want televisions when I'm on vacation? Well, I guess I do because we don't watch TV at our house, and so the kids were thrilled. We don't have TV. We watch movies, but we don't have any cable or anything like that. So yeah, the kids loved it. Okay, museums. I did mention the State Museum. That's free to get into. Do you know in China they have no free museums? We had this Chinese lady staying with us, and we were taking her, looking around. Burgess Falls, we took her to Burgess Falls, and she was just awed that it was free and that the water was so clean, because in China their water is filthy. Everywhere you go, any natural river, any natural waterfall. Maybe we shouldn't be recording that, Ben. But it's filthy. And you take these Chinese people into a hospital or doctor's office with you, and they're amazed at how clean it is. It's so filthy. We do a lot of. God has made me a missionary, our family a missionary to the Chinese in our own home. God did it. So Burgess, all the state parks, of course, are free to visit. Ben?
I need to change out the memory card.
Okay, go ahead. I'm almost done here anyway. Museums. In China, they're not free. You cannot go into a museum that's free in China. She was amazed when I took her to the State Museum. But there's all kinds of local ones. We have a little bitty one in Carthage, and there's a little one in Lebanon I go to. I don't know what's in Cookeville because I don't live here, but I'm sure there's local.
There's one over by the library.
By the library.
We live in Crossville and they have a free military museum there.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh.
it's right on Main Street.
Oh, Crossville.
And this year,
Creation Museum.
Kids.
Free kids.
Kids get in free for 2014.
Yeah.
Creation Museum in.
It's in Kentucky, just south of
It's-
Cincinnati.
Kids get in free when?
All
This
year.
All year.
This year.
Yeah.
Just for kids, right?
I've been wanting to take the boys, so that'll be good.
You know-
2014's your year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What day is define as a kid?
I don't know, but you know, another good thing about the Creation Museum, we took our family there a couple years ago, and when you get a family membership, because that's all I do is buy family memberships, I don't pay individually anywhere with our group. When you purchase a family membership there, it includes anyone who's a dependent in your house, anyone. So if you've got college kids or, you know, whatever, at your house, it's anybody. It's not just 17 and under. I really like that, appreciate that.
Fall Creek Falls also has, I think it's like a Pioneer Day or some type of something like that.
Mhm.
And schools can come like
Oh, okay, right.
one day.
Right.
We went last year and they had like, we had a little guide and she took us to the different, but we had a little fella that made brooms and we watched him make the brooms, and then from a tree they made furniture, and then you had the little blacksmiths and they made nails, and we went to the medical tent and he showed us all the things, you know, that they did during the Civil War
Mm-hmm.
for medicine, and leather strap in his mouth, and, you know, just all the, and they shot off a cannon, and the Mennonites were there making molasses. I mean, it was quite a, you know,
What was
it was very
this?
exciting. It was free. Fall Creek Falls. You might just
Pioneer
have to go to
Days.
their website.
Pioneer Days.
Yeah, I
That's
think that
right.
it's Pioneer. I think that's what it's called.
Hmm.
But that was free. We brought our lunch and.
I want to move on to clothes now. We get our clothes on sale, or at the Goodwill store, or thrift store, or yard sales, or wherever. Hand-me-downs, of course, are good things. I like going to end of the season sales, the Children's Place. We have the factory outlet. Do you have an outlet? Children's Place?
Where do you live again?
Lebanon, the premium outlets in Lebanon.
Yes.
And so they get on their email list and they continually send out coupons for 20% off, 30% off. I went there the other day and I thought it was 30% off, and I said something to the cashier and she said, well, it's only 30% off if you buy $60 worth of stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. But it adds up quick. We had $73 worth of stuff, so I got 30% off, so that was really good.
About how you divide it for lunches?
Since this is the money class, I will tell you how we do. I have my kids on a clothing budget. I give each one of them $15 a month to buy clothes. That's all the clothing money they get. Unless something special comes up and they really desperately need something, I will have mercy and give them something. But I give them $15 a month to spend on clothes because that's all we can afford. That would be my budget, and so I give it to them to teach them how to manage their money. They know how to shop, don't you, Hannah? And save. She saves her money. Oh my goodness, we went shopping the other day. She had $56 in her clothing budget. Of course, you have to teach the children not to spend it on gummy candies and stuff like that. But yeah. But seriously, I heard of that years ago, and I thought it was a really great idea. So yeah, I give my kids a clothing budget.
There's a place in Gainesboro, now I volunteer there, it's called The Exchange,
Okay.
to where it's free clothing. Say if your child goes out of clothes, you bring 15 items in, you give them those 15, and they have to be decent, no stains, no holes, and then you get to pick 15 items for free to leave with.
How do you
It's
get
called the
involved?
Exchange.
It's called The Exchange, it's on the main street.
Is it just a regular storefront?
It's
Or is
associated
it-
with the Bridge Community Church,
Oh,
but
nice.
it's right, there's a sign that hangs off the building, and it's open on Saturdays from 10 to 2.
Wow.
And see, right now, we're changing over from winter to summer clothing, or,
Mm-hmm.
right, so.
Everybody should have one of those.
It's in Gainesboro, Yeah, see, I haven't had to buy clothes for my kids for years now.
Wow.
The only thing we really have to do is, we do shoes, but I just have my personal preference, not wearing someone else's shoes, because people's
Right.
feet conform
Right.
to their shoes, so that's about the only thing, shoes and socks that we, buy, so, but yeah. no, I
Wow,
haven't had
that's
to buy
really
clothes.
nice. So does that church run it?
Uh-huh,
What is the name of that church by there you said?
the Bridge Community Church.
Bridge. Great, thanks. So I think that's about it. Remember, don't sweat the small stuff. And we do, my family, we sell Nutrilite vitamins. We have a table downstairs. If you want to go look at it, free samples today. They're all organic, grown in America, stuff like that. So you can check out our table down there, and you can come back, and I have more to tell you about how we actually do what we do in a homeschool day in our house later at 1 o'clock. Any other questions?